posted on the corner. I'm posted on the corner.
Might have my heart on my sleeve today.
Come on, it's right here.
Yeah, right there on the heart side. LMA's in the studio.
Thank you guys for having me.
We're back.
Thank you.
You're known for the timeless music. Like, your songs don't get old.
At all.
I try.
So getting back in the studio, it's the sophomore album, of course. Yes. What was the vibe like going into this recording process?
It was quite difficult when I first started, to be very, very honest, because I kind of was just in my head a little bit like, do I need to sound like my debut album? Do I need to write the same? Like, I wasn't really sure. And then I was recording during the pandemic, so it was very kind of like stop-start. Some studios were open, some studios were closed. Couldn't have more than 6 people in a room, and I didn't really want to do. A lot of people were doing Zoom sessions, and I just couldn't get into the Zoom sessions. Like, I need the energy, you know. Yeah. So it was quite difficult at the start, but once we kind of passed that phase, and I got into it and got out of my own head, and like really kind of figured out what I wanted to say and what I wanted to sound like, it was amazing. It was so fun. I miss it. Like, now that the process is over, I'm like, oh, I wish I was recording again. Like, the album's done, and I know I'll record obviously for many more albums to come, but like, this was actually a really fun process for me. It was like my life in real time. Great. Yeah.
That's up. So you came through in the game swinging, boot up your EP and all of that. So you've grown so much over time. So how was that, getting in the studio and sitting down and be like, damn, I'm grown as hell right now. Like, how is that process going, and how do you feel like coming in the game? How did that mold you to be who you are today?
I think I always say in my debut era, I was quite naive. I think I was just young. I didn't really know much about the music industry other than I went to school for music. So what they teach you in the books, but like, there's nothing that can teach you more than experience, right? Like, it doesn't matter how much we read about it, unless you're actually experiencing it and you're in it, you won't fully understand it. So there was a lot of things that I didn't understand at that time, but I was kind of like, I didn't really have to pay attention to it because everything was going so well for me. So it was just like, I was just having super, like a lot of fun, and then came back to starting to record the album, and I like have been on tour. I know a bit more about the music industry and like been around for a little bit more, like longer. And now I'm older, like you said. So there was a lot of things to kind of just put into place that I feel like during the process I wasn't even actually that aware of. But now looking back and on the songs that we chose as the final track list, that's when I really was like, wow, I'm proud of her, because she's such a mature version of LMA still, so same as my self-titled, but just older and more mature, yeah. And I think there's a lot of situations that I realized by listening through the music, listening back to the music, that like I handled so much better now as a 27-year-old as I would as LMA on the debut album. And I think that you see that through the music that's on the album, so yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Grammy-nominated LMA is here. Heart on My Sleeve is available now on all digital streaming platforms. We appreciate you stopping by. Now, last year, you came through the speaker again talking about Not Another Love Song.
Yeah.
I have to ask you, what's one of your favorite love songs of all time?
Oh, that is such a hard question, but probably They Don't Know by John B.
Oh, classic.
Ooh, don't listen to what? That's player. That's
I'm gonna just redid it with Chloe. Yeah. Like that song. I can never ever get tired of listening to that song. I can listen to it 20 times over and still press play.
Still hit the same.
For sure.
When you were talking about growing with the industry, I have to ask, if it's one thing about this industry that you could change, if it was up to you, what would it be?
That's a great question. If there's one thing that I could change about the industry, probably it's just politics. Like I would like, it's not all about talent. And if it could be, I think that's what I would do. I'd make it all about talent.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's have a little fun with the this and that. Get into the world of Miss LMA.
Yes, let's do it.
Because you're being so vulnerable on this album.
I am.
You're giving it to him. I'm gonna get into that a little later. But do you prefer morning time or nighttime?
Oh, I say nighttime.
For sure. If you had the opportunity to do a staycation or a vacation, which one would you like?
Oh, I'm gonna do a vacation.
For sure. In the vehicle, I know you're on promo run right now. Would you rather be the driver or the passenger?
The passenger.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, here's the one that I really want to know. You at home, got some downtime. You doing the cooking or you want a chef?
Oh, I want a chef. I don't cook. Please, listen. The kitchen is not for me. I keep telling people the kitchen, I was not made to
But
be
what's
in the
one
kitchen.
thing you can make though?
I can make some salmon. I'm a pescatarian, like I was saying to you. So I can make some good like salmon, mashed potato, and veg. And that's about where it starts and stops. Like, I'm not made for the kitchen at all.
For sure. You are made for the camera because that hair lady and them nails look good over there. Come on with it.
Thank you.
That's great. So like Ink was saying, like this album, it seems very vulnerable. It's called Heart on My Sleeve.
Yes.
So how does that feel sharing something so personal to you to the world?
Scary. Literally, like what we were just saying, you know, I've been gone for a while. And with my debut album, it wasn't super, like it was fun. I feel like my debut album was a lot of like the funner side of LMA.
Yeah.
And now Heart on My Sleeve is definitely like me digging deeper and showing a new side of myself. And I think a lot of people don't know that much about me. So through the music, they'll know a lot more about me. But it's a scary feeling. I'm super excited, don't get me wrong. Like it's been a long time, I know. And I'm just happy to be back and able to be able to share it with people because I worked so hard on it. But it's definitely a lot scarier than I thought it would be. And here we are now. It's out of my control now. So I'm just like, you know, but yeah, it's scary.
That's fun that you're back and you're having fun with the sophomore album. When it came to picking a title for the album, was Heart on My Sleeve the first title you came with?
No, it was the second one. But it was the first one. I was like, I'm in an RN, and I was like, I don't feel like I should be questioning, like I should know. And then Heart on My Sleeve actually came from, I sent like a text message, and I went back to reread the text message a couple days later, which is always bad. Don't do that. Don't go back and reread text messages.
I was tripping.
Literally me. And I reread it, and for some reason the line, like, you know, I wore my heart on my sleeve, just kept, like, I couldn't get off of the line. And I left it and I went back to it again because it was just still in my head the next day, and I was like, that's it. That's the title of my album. So yeah. And then when I took it to everyone on my team, everyone was just like, yeah. Like it just explains the music so well. And it was funny because Mustard was like, you don't wear your heart on your sleeve. Like, why would you? He's the only one that was like, no, you don't. But I was like, I genuinely do, because I have, like I was saying, I'm a Scorpio. I have a really like hard exterior, but on the inside, we're really, really sensitive. Yeah, we're literally like, what do they say about Sour Patch when they say they're sour and then they're sweet? Like that's literally a Scorpio.
So you brought up Mustard. That's your family. How was it with y'all getting back in the studio? What was that energy like after working during the pandemic? After, like, what's that like with y'all being in the studio together?
It's so fun to just have somebody that you musically connect with so well, and you don't even have to like. When I'm in the studio with Mustard, there's like nothing is off limits. So if he doesn't like something, he'll tell me he doesn't like it, and I won't feel any type of way. And if I don't like something, you know, same vice versa. And I think to have that connection with someone, to be able to be super, super honest when you're creating, because we're artists and we're sensitive about stuff that we make, you know. But we just go in and we have fun. And if we don't like it, we do something and it's like, we're like, okay, cool, we'll try again tomorrow. Like it's just very, it's not a really like, right, we need to make a hit, we need to make a hit, we need to make a hit. It's a very chilled, relaxed environment. And I feel like that's how we kind of get the best out of both of us. Yeah.
Right. Now, I was reading that this may be your most vulnerable album ever. Is that true?
Yeah, I think so. And like, obviously I've only had one album before, but my EPs were like a little bit more on the vulnerable side too.
Very deep.
But I would say that this is the most.
So what would you say is the most honest song on this?
There's probably all of them, but if I had to pick one, it would be Hide. I have a song on the album called Hide. It's a ballad. It's kind of like not really what you've heard me on before. And it's just me spewing from my heart. So yeah.
That's dope. So do you ever like get homesick?
Yes and no. So I just recently went back to London, and I was able to see my mum and everyone else, and it was cool. But I feel like I need everything in doses, if you get what I mean. So like I went to school in New York for high school. So I like to go to New York also for doses, go home for doses, be in LA for a bit, and kind of like, you know, I like to move around a bit. But I don't get homesick that much. I think my family are still in England, so that's the main thing. But with like FaceTime and stuff, you don't feel as disconnected or as far away. But I go home as much as I can. Obviously, during the pandemic, I didn't go home at all. I couldn't. But before the pandemic, I was home every 3 months. So yeah.
We pull up to England. Where we kicking it at? What we doing?
Yeah.
We on the overseas kick.
According to Bia, it's Shoreditch. According to Bia, when you go to London, you have to go to Shoreditch, and that's like the trendy place where you can get a whole bunch of cool stuff. Shoreditch is really cool. I'm from South London, so anywhere under the river, that's where I'll be. But
okay.
So we was over here, we'd be like, I'm from the South Side.
Yeah.
South. All right, for sure. So if we comb through your passport, what's one of your favorite stamps in there?
Oh, I just got a new passport and there's no stamps in there right now. But if we were talking about my old one,
okay then.
Probably when I went to Asia. I went to Japan, I went to Korea, I went to the Philippines on tour. And I was just, it kind of like, it was so crazy to me because going somewhere where English is not the first language that's spoken, but like doing a show and them like literally singing every single word. Yeah, it was a trip for me because I was just like, how, like, especially in Japan, we had a translator because it's quite hard to communicate. They don't speak as much English as they do like in Korea. They speak really good English in Korea. So like even just going through the day-to-day and having a translator and not being able to communicate with people, but getting on stage and being able to communicate through song was like something that really, really like resonated with me. It's one of my favorite memories of touring. So yeah, I'd say Asia.
Now, it's some music out there and you give us timeless music. I said that earlier. But when you're not listen to your own music. If I was to go through your playlist, what's one of your favorite Ratchet songs? Like that's
Ratchet songs?
Ratchet songs. That you like, Ella May.
Definitely has to be something from City Girls. I just need to think of which one.
That's the one to get that hand
Let me
up.
think. Yeah.
So now you standing on furniture, you somewhere in Magic City going crazy.
I might be. You might find me.
I know that's right.
Act Up always does that for me though. I would say Act Up by City Girls. I know that's not a newer one, but that.
Nah,
always,
but that's like that's gonna give you that feeling.
I think it's gonna give the moment that song comes on, everyone's like, okay, yep.
I never heard it. How'd it start?
No.
So is there anything else you're working on this year that you could give us an exclusive on? Anything that you could tell us about?
Not so much. I think really just focusing on this album and being able to tour it. I really want to get back on the road. It's my favorite part of releasing music, and obviously we haven't been able to do that for so long. So to be able to just be on stage and connect with my fans in the same way I said how I did, when I was in Asia, and just really work this project because this project means a lot to me. So I think being able to get on stage and do it justice in that way and have that same energy, that's my main goal for the rest of the year. Yeah.
So what can people expect from an LMA show?
From an LMA show. So I actually just had a recent rehearsal with my band for all the new stuff. So I used to have a 3-piece band, and I have a 4-piece band. I added a guitarist, and just really more movement. I've been trying to work on. I'm not going to give you full-blown choreography. So I'm not a dancer. I know my strengths and my weaknesses.
Okay.
Period.
But I'm definitely trying to step it up a little bit in that aspect and give you more movement. I don't want to just
More
be
of a
standing
vibe.
still. Yeah.
Either way it go,
Yeah.
it's going.
Thank you. But just to have fun. Like being on stage is actually so fun. And just like sometimes I'll like bring my fans on stage and just like kind of create a moment. And we've been missing that for so long. We haven't had live shows for a long time. And like all the virtual stuff was like, I feel like everyone was getting so over the virtual stuff because there was so much of it.
Yes.
Like, so to be able to have even just doing this and be in person, like, I'm grateful for. So yeah, I can't wait to get back on stage.
For sure. Happy Heart on My Sleeve week. Ella May is here. Grammy nominated Ella May is here.
Grammy-winning. I won a Grammy.
Come on, with it now.
Don't ever play with the girl. Period.
Come on now, winning them awards. I see on this album you got a song with Big Lotto. You have a song with Roddy Ricch.
Yes.
You did a song with Lucky Day.
Yes.
How was it, getting in the studio or creating this artistry with those artists?
Amazing. I'm so happy to have them as a part of the project. I'm a very big believer in collaborating with people that I'm a fan of, you know, and I think I'm a fan first, like regardless. So with Lucky, I've been working with Lucky for years. Before Lucky even decided to be like his own actual artist, he was a songwriter for many years. And on my EPs and my debut album, I wrote with him. So like to be able to now have a full circle moment where he's on my album with me and to just see his growth in his career, and he's doing so well, and I'm just so happy for him. So that was a really fun session, and it was easy because we've been working together for 5-6 years now. So with Roddy and Mustard obviously work very closely together, and Mustard and I work very closely together. So I remember when we first started the album, we weren't even talking about features like then. We'd like to get the songs first or set up sessions. But I was like, listen, if there's one person that I need on this album, it's Roddy. I'm a huge fan. I really just love his melodies. I just really, really enjoy his melodies. So I was like, we have to have a master-produced Ella Mai and Roddy Ricch. I feel like it only makes sense. And then with Latto, so I met her during my album process. It was like super, super late for me in my album process and really early in her album process. We were using the same studio and I always look crazy towards the end of my album process. So I went in there like my hair all messed up. I'm like, please don't judge me. I just wanted to come and meet you because I love you. I'm a fan. And she was like, no, you look fine. And then we didn't actually work on the song together. I had the song from like, it was one of the first ones that I recorded. But I sent it over to her. And she did the verse for me literally maybe like 2 or 3 days before my deadline. Like it got lost, the text got lost in translation. But luckily we were able to do it on time. And I'm just a really big fan of seeing her come up and all of her success, especially right now with her album. Like I'm just really happy that she's able to be a part of mine. And I love when a featured artist is as excited as me about the song.
Yeah.
And all of the features that I have on my album seem to be really excited about it. So it makes me more excited.
Yes, that's dope. So I ask all the artists when they come through and do interviews with us because I just think it's dope when you get to look back at your life and what you've been through. So if you could go back in time and give yourself any type of advice, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, I would tell myself, I have two sides of the coin here because on one side of the coin, I would tell myself to like just relax a little bit and that I don't know everything and to listen to people. But on the other side of the coin, I would also tell myself to never let anybody try and change what I see for myself. So those kind of contradict each other a little bit. But I think they can coexist at the same time also, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I think I would just kind of like slow down a little bit and pay more attention to what people are telling me in some aspects, but also never take no for an answer in other aspects. So it's a two-part answer to your question.
Congratulations on your Wonderland cover.
Thank you.
I think that's the best cover
Thank you.
ever.
Thank you.
So,
Thank
you
you.
over there fresh and so green, clean.
Yes, I was excited about that because lately I've been wearing a lot of green and everyone's always like, you look so good in green. So I'm like, okay.
Keep it going.
I don't have green on today, but maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, it's popping for sure. Yeah, it's Heart on My Sleeve. The album is available now on all digital streaming platforms. Ella Mai is here with us. We appreciate you coming by. Appreciate you being vulnerable on this album.
Yes.
When it came to being an artist and stepping into this game, did you have to decide her name, or you just was like, I'm gonna stick with my government, Ella Mai?
So May is actually my middle name.
Right.
Yeah, and I remember when I was little, I would always ask my mum why she didn't call me May. I didn't want to be called Ella. I wanted to be called May for some unknown reason. But Ella Fitzgerald is my mum's really into jazz, so that's my mum's favorite artist. And my brother's called Miles after Miles Davis. So she would always tell me it was either going to be Ella or it was going to be Simone. And I'm like, why Simone? She was like, I don't know. I just like those two names.
You kind of look like a Simone.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a club name.
You know what's crazy though? If I was called Simone and I was like, oh, my mum was gonna call me Ella, I feel like everyone would be like, you don't look anything like an Ella. So like, I feel like it's just because obviously
Right.
I know myself as Ella. I'm like, I don't look like a Simone. But yeah, I never really thought about changing it. I kind of was just like, let me just be me.
flows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ella Mai. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
dope. That's dope. So how are you protecting your peace these days?
That's a good question. How am I protecting my peace these days? You know, I don't know how I'm protecting my peace. I try my best to keep good people around me. I think that's really important. I try my best in times where I feel like I have some downtime to get off my phone.
Definitely.
Because the internet and social media is the wild
in a
west.
chokehold.
Listen, and you can just be scrolling and you don't even realize, you know, like for hours and hours. So, yeah, just keeping good people around me and trying to live in the moment. Definitely trying to live in the moment. Yeah.
Posted on the corner, on the corner, on the corner, on the corner.